Living in America in 2025 can feel contradictory. On one hand, technology is advancing, fatality rates in some areas are improving, and economic indicators show pockets of stabilization. On the other hand, daily life feels more expensive, more pressured, and in certain cases, more risky. From behind the wheel to the checkout aisle, from the housing market to insurance bills, many Americans feel as though the essentials of life have grown heavier and not lighter. Safety, both physical and financial, feel strained, And I'm basically making this video to examine why do we have this perception of unsafety or whatever by combining personal experience and data. Like data-based evidence across several domains like driving conditions, fees and cost of living, grocery prices, car prices, and the real estate market insurance prices. For example, even home, car, and health insurances. And we're not gonna forget about the rent and entertainment costs in all of this. And the goal is to answer one question: does America still feel safe in 2025? And if so, or if not, what is driving the way Americans feel that way today? And before we dive into the subject fully, guys, don't forget your boy, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to comment down below. It's very important for the algorithm gods of YouTube. I'm telling you. So go ahead, guys, go ahead. And for my next point in this video, we're gonna start talking by driving conditions, because I am telling you, it feels like they are getting worse and worse. And many drivers have actually said it. They actually said that the roads seem a little bit more chaotic. Other drivers also seem a little bit more distracted, and overall the environment is a little bit more stressful in a way. Even if they haven't been into an accident, the sheer increase in near misses, aggressive driving, and phone-induced inattention makes commuting feel riskier than before. And I'm telling you, every time I'm driving somewhere, it feels like you are going through a war. You are literally fighting over your spot on the road, because you can be driving just doing speed limit like 45 miles per hour, where it's almost the case in almost all the roads, and boom, you get somebody going left and right with no blinkers on, no nothing, and they are going like 70 to 80 miles per hour. I am sorry, but that kind of scares me, because all I'm looking for on the road is personally safety. And people that cut people off, people that honk on other people because they're not fast enough, people that put the light beams and all that on you and you don't even see nothing, people who at night start driving like crazy and they have their high beams on you and all of that at all times. Like, it's going crazy. But then when we crisscross that towards the data that we have with all of this, we have what's improving is the roadway fatalities dropping by 8.2% in early 2025 versus in early 2024. Then we also have the fatalities per 100 million miles, which are down from 1.16 to 1.06. And the last one is in 2024, we saw approximately 39,345 deaths, which is 3.8% down from 2023. So objectively, the roads feel safer. But then why do we still think that way? Why do we still think that it's actually getting worse? Let me tell you. Distracted driving violations are up by 50% in 2024. Speeding tickets went up by 16% for the light violations and by 25% for the high ones. Then you also have more miles driven, more congestions, and more complicated roads. Mixed with that, you've got infrastructure lag, which means designs to not keep in pace with behavioral changes. And for example, in some places, they have a high influence of people going to those places, and now the roads that they have cannot withstand the traffic that's in there. For example, in my area, I am telling you, with the whole inflation of people that came towards this place, now the roads that we have are not able to withstand all of the traffic of new people that are in here. And now literally to do 30 miles, you gotta drive for like 2 hours. Literally. Then we also have the cost and the stress of driving that makes drivers more fatigued and rushed. And in some regions, it shows high pedestrian and cyclist fatalities. And for example, on a Sunday, I was literally just trying to go on a bike ride and all of that, and I almost ended up into an accident and into a whole fight, and I almost had to call the cops because of, I was just going cycling on the road, like on the side of the road, and somebody was not happy and he started on honking on me while everything was legal. I even asked a cop and he told me like everything that I was doing was legal, but the fact that the guy got pissed and came out of his car and all of that, I should have called the cops, I'm telling you. So yes, in all of that, exposure to actual death might be down, but the exposure to actual dangerous behaviors and all of that feels like it's higher, because people nowadays don't care about how they're driving or who they actually hurt. And now that leads us to my second point: fees and the rising cost of living. Most people feel like nickel and dimed. Service fees, processing fees, platform fees, convenience fees. Basically everywhere you go, there is going to be a fee for every basically thing. Even you go to the restaurant, there's going to be a convenience fee of like $4.99 that you don't know where it's coming from, and you gotta pay it. And after all of these costs, you can say that it's basically adding up real fast, and in a way, bills also feel a little bit more heavier, even though your lifestyle may have not changed, And for example, for the same lifestyle that I'm going through, basically, I also noticed that in the same lifestyle, the cost of living has gone a little bit higher when you take just, of course, for example, just one factor. Let's say home insurance that we're going to be talking through the video. Well, home insurance, yes, it went up a little bit, and which is fine, but when you compare that to other factors and when you add up everything, you see that, for example, if you were living for like, I don't know, $2,000 a month or something like that, now you're gonna probably need $2,500 a month or something like that to actually live comfortably, just the same way your lifestyle was back in the day, or something. And in the data, it shows us that first, inflation remains elevated. Essentials like shelter, services, and food carry persistent price pressure. The second thing is production and labor costs are also higher, so businesses raise prices. The third thing is housing and shelters, which are a major household cost, keeps pushing up budgets. I am telling you, rent, we're gonna talk about it throughout this video too, but rent also is literally just going up through the roof every single year. Then followed by that, you also have the corporate strategy, that means, or greedflation. That means companies raise fees because they can, hiding increases in add-on charges. And that leads me to the last thing, which is the consumer expectations, which help normalize higher prices. And why does this actually feel worse than inflation numbers? The things people buy most, like groceries or even rent and utilities, are actually rising faster than the CPU. Fees also aren't visible in inflation indexes. To that, you also combine wages that often lag prices increases, and housing, healthcare, insurance, structural costs, which are hard to avoid, meaning expenses that you cannot avoid, meaning stuff that you cannot avoid to not pay or else you're gonna be in trouble. Well, then in that case, literally you feel like everything is increasing at the same time every year. And 2025, it's increased pretty high, And so through it all, that's why I say, like, when the feeling of unsafety is here, even throughout people's finances, it feels like people's wallets are a little bit lighter nowadays, And that leads me to my third point. Grocery prices have, of course you guessed it, gone up. They have totally gone up. Shoppers feel like the bill jumps every few weeks, especially from products like eggs, dairy, meat, and coffee. Even when the overall inflation number looks small, your actual cart total doesn't. And from experience again, when you go to the grocery store, when you were thinking you were gonna spend like $200 and get everything you needed, not today, brother, not today. Today, you go to the grocery store, you will have to spend at least $500. I don't know about you, but I'm all about living healthy and all of that, so you gotta get the produces that you need to actually be healthy. So for example, a little bit of meat, a little bit of veggies and all of that, a little bit of coffee, a little bit of everything, You don't stop yourself. You live, you eat a little bit of everything, but you contain yourself, you don't eat too much of everything. So that's why it's okay, we can eat some ice cream later if you want. But hey, I got a sweet tooth and I always say it, I love sweet things. And so, in the cost of basically just this and this and this, you feel like, also, of course, the prices have went up a little bit, but not too much. But when you, of course, again, combine this with this, with this, with this, with this, and you end up with your whole cart looking like, it's a whole fridge. Nah, just expect to pay up the prices nowadays because it's gonna be expensive. But then from data, that tells us we have multiple factors that are driving the grocery increases in prices. For example, the first one, that is the supply chain costs, which means the labor, the shipping, the fertilizer, the feed, and all of those fees that are going with it. Well, you gotta pay, and now it's getting more expensive for all of that too. Product specific shocks, meaning the prices of X went up by 59% year over year, and then you've got meat prices rising faster than average too. To that you combine the trade and tariff effects that raises prices on imported foods, and all of that is mixed with some sticky prices that once raised, many food prices don't come back. And that is the issue, because after they go up and people are still buying, the companies are looking at it like, oh, we are putting up this price now and people are still paying for it. Well, I guess what? We're still gonna make the same profits and maybe keep going even more in the future, and maybe in the future they would make it even higher. So now the standard is basically always going higher, 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 and higher. Like, what the hell? And don't even get me started on what shrinkflation is, meaning they shrink your shit and you still pay for the same price. That's another topic for another video. But then you jump into the data, and the data tells you that food at home inflation is up by 1.9% from February 2025 to February 2024. In August 2025, grocery inflation has gone up by 2.7%. But some items massively outpace averages, leading customers to feel like everything is up. And why does it feel worse? Well, staples have outsized increases. Small percentages equal big dollars when multiplied across a full cart every week. So that tells me we are screwed and our wallets are still looking lighter. Moving on to another factor now. Number 4. Car prices, of course, have gone up. And whether you are buying a used car or a new car, trust me, you're gonna be paying top dollar nowadays. Whether you go to a new car dealership or a used car dealership, trust me, your costs are pretty much gonna be higher. And from a bunch of research online on YouTube and all of that, it also feels like there's also a bunch of brands that are not even getting sold by how pricey they are currently nowadays, and people don't even want to buy those kind of vehicles for the prices that they are set, Again, the data tells you for the new cars, the average price have gone up by $50,000 in September 2025. The used cars market, meaning 1 to 5 year old, well, in March 2025, it was recorded at 6% higher with $31,000 in average. And the used EVs are one of the few categories that are actually getting cheaper because no one is buying them. And why the prices are actually rising? The first thing is the inventory shortages, which means that people keeping cars actually longer, the shift toward SUVs, trucks, and EVs, which are pricier, the lag in between wholesale and retail prices that keeps used cars prices high even when wholesale softens, and of course, tariffs on imported vehicles and parts. So the data tells you that yes, of course, the cost of a regular car nowadays is higher. By how much, we don't know. So just stay safe on the road, guys, and don't buy something too expensive. I'm telling you, don't put yourself in one of those financial holes, because you will need years to actually get out of it. And that also leads us to our number 5, housing markets. The housing market, I am telling you, it is literally going up and up and up, and 2025 is not the exception. For many buyers, home prices feel unreachable. Sellers feel like they're sitting on gold, but depending on where you live, reality may be more complex. And in some places, people have seen that they bought like a house for like $350,000, and nowadays it is worth like twice as much, like $700,000 or something like that. But other people, they bought probably a house for like $400,000, and then something happened to their house or whatever, like a hurricane went through and all of that, and now it's not even worth that much. So literally, it feels like it is a game of you play, you may win, you may lose. And in some categories, you will lose a lot. And in here, the data shows that national home prices have gone up from 6.6% to 6.7%. So it's only a slow increase of 0.1%, but still there. Some markets show only 0.4% monthly growth, and some states, for example, Florida, Massachusetts, or Texas, actually show declines in real house prices. So why did the prices increase actually? We've got a few pointers in this one. Well, first of all, we got a low supply of houses and a high demand in many regions. Combined to that, you've got also regional hotspots that drive national average upwards, and high mortgages rates limit how fast prices can climb, but they also make buying more expensive. And the whole impact of it is actually buying is now harder, and affordability nowadays is at its all-time worst that it's ever been in years. And it also impacts the seller benefits, but only in certain markets, So that's why I'm saying that this feeling of unsafety in a way is also present in houses, just like for the home insurance, which is my number 6. So home insurance prices have gone up. I personally felt it too, going up little by little every year. You don't know why, but you just gotta pay it and you keep going. And the data shows you that prices have went up actually by 40.4% over 6 years nationally, with an 11% increase just from 2023 to 2024. And for example, when you combine it to extreme cases, for example, in Louisiana, they have an increase of 27%, and in California of 21%. So why is this actually happening? And it's going to be the case of, for example, several natural disasters. For example, in California, or even in here in Florida, natural disasters is what's going to drive your home insurance higher. For example, if a hurricane went through it, or if your house got flooded, or if your house got burned or whatever, trust me, your home insurance is gonna go through the roof. You also have higher costs for rebuild and repairs, and the insurance risk management, meaning higher premiums or coverage withdrawals. And to that, you also combine the regional vulnerability and climate risk. That's it. That, I am telling you, that is the perfect combination for your home insurance to go up. Just like something else that went up. Number 7, health insurance. Health insurance is literally killing us every year with the prices they are giving to the people, because premiums rise even when you rarely use your insurance. Employers contribute more, yet employees still pay more out of pocket. And from experience, literally we've been paying, for example, $1,200 a month for the first year. Then for the second year, we've been paying for around $1,400 or something, and now we are almost at $1,700 a month, just for insurance. And we're like, why does it keep increasing when we're not using it actually that much, And the data in here shows that the employer-sponsored family premium in 2025 has increased by 6%, the private health plans by 7%, the ACA marketplace plans increased their costs by 27% for 2026. And why? That tells you that there is actually a higher hospital and doctor costs. With that, you have an expensive specialty drugs. With that, you have labor shortages, which are higher provider costs. To that, you also have the consolidated health systems reduce competition, and policy changes may shift more costs to consumers. So that all of that tells me that basically we are screwed, because we literally as consumer end up paying for this and that and this and that, to the point where at the end you literally have to basically pay for everything, which I find a little bit crazy, that you cannot actually easily go to see a doctor without expecting literally a bill or something from left or right, which is absolutely crazy. Please let me know down in the comments below if I'm the only one in this category, guys, because I literally feel like health insurance nowadays is just going up and up and up for absolutely no reason, because they should be able to afford a little bit. And when I say they, I'm talking about like hospitals, good doctors and all of that. Like they should be able to take care of you and, I don't know, not ending up with a bill of $10,000, $20,000, you know? Like, for example, if you go to the hospital and your wife is pregnant, I'm sorry, but some people are literally expecting to be bankrupt out of the pregnancy of their women, you know? Like, come on. And on top of it all, we have our number 8, car insurance. And car insurance, again, no matter which company you go through, Geico, State Farm, whatever company you might think of, they will always raise their prices, and renewals are higher even when you have a clean driving records. Add a new vehicle and prices jump even higher. And from the data, it tells you that in 2025 it increases by 7.5% nationally, and the high cost states go up to like 10%. And the average annual cost now is about $2,400 for a full coverage. And that's because the repairs cost a lot more nowadays. There is actually a higher labor on parts and all of that. The tariffs rising parts costs, and you've got a more severe claims and weather related damages. And also, there's some state level regulations and risk profiles that makes the whole mix even higher. So that's why even through the data, literally it tells you that the prices of car insurance literally went up too. And now jumping from another problem to another problem, we've got number 9, rent. And rent is not to be forgotten, because rent, everybody has to pay rent basically. If you didn't buy your house already or something, trust me, you're gonna be renting for a whole lot of time, and you're gonna be paying a lot of money, to the point where every year they feel like, he's paying that much for the rent. Well, guess what? My costs have went up, so his costs are gonna go up. So that's why your rent goes up. Data shows that national rents are up by 31% in the last 5 years. Single family rentals have gone by an overall of 10% just in the last year. Some metro areas are asking for rents down to 2% in 2025, and the national median rent is actually down by 2.1%. So why do we get this mixed picture? Why do I have this feeling of, yeah, rent is actually going up, but compared to the average of all the rents in the country, it's actually going down a little bit? So why do we have this mixed picture, you know? New apartments actually supply easing pressure, and high-end rentals are actually rising more, and low-end are rising slower. Migration patterns are shifting also the whole demand on the whole rent market. So basically it is, as I see it, is just a way of life. Like, you think, for example, that if you go to this city, to this other city in another state, if you see that it's overpopulated, well, you already know that even the rent costs and all of that are gonna be up. But if you look at the city and it doesn't look too overpopulated and it looks like there's space and all of that, well, the prices are gonna be affordable and always kind of okay, you know. I literally see it just like a trend of where you go and how prices are going to inflate or deflate and all of that. So I think that on that one is maybe a just a question of perception. But that moves us to our number 10, and this one you're gonna like it because it's juicy. Entertainment costs. Everything when it comes to entertainment has gone up. You're talking about streaming services. You're talking about going outside, going to a museum, going to a park, going to a concert, whatever, going to a restaurant. Basically, all forms of entertainment have gone up in prices. For example, Netflix from $7.95, now we are at $24. When you go to a concert, nowadays, if you want to go, I don't know, go see Drake, you want to go see Katy Perry, you want to see other celebrities and all of that, trust me, if you want to be up there right in front of them, whatever, you gotta pay $5,000. And then if you want to go and take a picture with them and maybe sign something, that's gonna cost you $500. Literally, it feels like there's fees everywhere you go when it comes to entertainment nowadays, and everybody is looking to make their money as fast as possible and as much as possible too. People notice higher prices at concerts, sports, theme parks, and even streaming services. Entertainment feels like a luxury today, and the data shows that live events tickets are on average of $144, which is up by 45% since 2019. The streaming services spending rises by $100 every month. And then the movie theater inflation is up by 3%. So why do we have all of this feeling? Well, first, we've got the post-pandemic demand. Second, the corporate pricing power. Third, the rising costs of production and touring. And fourth, the households rebalancing budgets due to rising essential costs. So does America still feel safe in 2025? The answer depends on what kind of safety we are actually talking about, because there's different factors. Physical safety first. Statistically, some things like roadway fatalities rates are actually improving, but daily experiences, including more distracted drivers and more congestion, makes people feel less safe. Similarly, climate risks and infrastructure stress create uneven physical safety across regions. Number 2, financial safety. Here is where Americans feel the strongest pressure. Across nearly every category, housing, rent, groceries, insurance, cars, entertainment costs are consistently rising. Some increases are modest, others extreme, but nearly all trends point upwards. And this financial strain influences the day-to-day life. When it comes to drivers feeling pressured and rushed, grocery budgets feeling squeezed, home ownership feels out of reach, insurance premiums quietly climb every year, renters struggling with affordability, and even more. And even when the data actually shows you the lived experience compared, for example, the near misses, the high bills, the surprise fees, and all of that, that is literally what shapes the perception that America is becoming less and less safe or affordable. So that's basically a whole fight in between perception and reality on that one. And the bottom line is, America in 2025 is safe, but it is unquestionably more expensive and a little bit more stressful to live actually safely in the country. Financial pressures and rapid cost increases creates a form of economic insecurity that feels very much like a safety issue, because it is. When the essentials of life become harder to secure, people naturally feel less protected. America remains functional, dynamic, and full of opportunities, but the economic landscape makes many aspects of life feel unstable. Physical safety is mixed, but improving in some areas. Financial safety is eroding for many households. And in that sense, America in 2025 feels a little bit less safe, even when certain data actually points otherwise. And on that note, guys, don't forget to like this video, because it's been a long video. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. Don't forget, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.